Anyways, so let's watch a couple of videos on this. We've got a couple. Ryan McBeth is a good one. I've seen him go over stuff before. He seems pretty knowledgeable. That's true. Please like the stream, by the way. The Democratic candidate could be an empty tin can and it would still be more competent than Trump. Yeah, literally Steve Bannon was trying to flee the country because he did something illegal. So, I mean, you know, I would rather have a tin can as a president. Somebody who doesn't know the 3 branches of the government, okay? Okay, so anyways, let's do this.
Today we are...
But that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, people with all political leanings are welcome here, okay?
diving into a story that feels like it is straight out of a spy movie. We got covert operations, fake identities, Russian propaganda, and millions of dollars.
Steve Bannon flees his own audience by stealing money from the border wall fund, Lamau. Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it? And the dude really tried to flee the country. And it's like, bro, you are like, just you trying to flee. Are you stupid? The dude is stupid. God, dude. Okay.
Flowing through shadowy shell companies. But it's not a Hollywood thriller. Which is funny, because I'm in Hollywood right now. I'm actually in a hotel room in LA. I'm speaking at the 2024 Disaster Expo, sponsored by Oxygen Plus. And I'm speaking specifically about disinformation during...
Can we do Star Trek on mobile? I was just able to install from your link. Yes, you can. You can do it mobile or PC, and it's completely free. And it helps me. It helps me make money. So you can exclamation Star Trek, okay, in the chat. Or not Star Trek, star, exclamation star. Okay, let's do this.
During a natural disaster, because our adversaries will use disinformation during a natural disaster to cause chaos and cause loss of faith in the American government. They did it during the wildfires in Hawaii last year. Now, I actually read this indictment while I was on the plane coming here, and I thought, my God, this would make a good Hollywood movie. Maybe I should pitch it to Netflix while I'm here. But it's not. It's an honest-to-God real indictment from the Justice Department involving 2 people, and hopefully I pronounce these names correctly. Konstantin Kalashnikov and Elena Afanasfia. And they also mention in the indictment a company based out of Tennessee that is unnamed, but is most likely Tenet Media. Now, you might have heard of Tenet Media before. They are the YouTube home to a bunch of right-wing personalities, Lauren Chen, Tim Pool, Tayler Hansen, Matt Christiansen, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson. And you know what's crazy? I think I've interacted with all of these people at one point or another because they were spreading disinformation regarding Ukraine. Specifically, Tim Pool, who is probably the worst of the bunch. One funny thing to note, Tim Pool said in a Twitter post, should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. So, you weren't paid by Russia? You came up with these lies about Ukraine that just so happened to conform to Russia's foreign policy goals on your own? And you did it for free? That's probably the dumbest thing you've ever said, Tim, and you have said some dumb stuff. But go with it. Go with it if you're in front of a judge. I want to see what happens. So, let's start with the absolute basics regarding RT. RT, formerly known as Russia Today, is a media outlet funded and controlled by the Russian government. Now, RT is not your average news network. It has been accused of spreading propaganda and disinformation around the world, especially in countries that don't see eye to eye with Russia. So think of RT as like the Kremlin's microphone, just blasting their narrative across the globe. RT are not the good guys. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, things got serious. Many countries banned RT from broadcasting. Now in the US, can't necessarily do that, but a lot of cable stations, satellite providers just dropped RT from their lineup. So what did RT do? Did they pack up and go home? No. They just pivoted and switched gears to covert operations. They used more social media, especially YouTube. They decided to influence Western audiences through more underhanded means. And one of those means was to create, essentially, companies that parroted RT's party line. So let's meet our first player, Konstantin Kalashnikov, also known as Kostya. He's a Russian national and an employee of RT. What's his job? manage digital media projects, and according to the indictment,
Hi, Jelly.
run
How's it
covert
going?
operations in the U.S. Then there's Elena Afanasfia, or Lena. She's another RT employee who works closely with Kostya to manage Tenet's media activities here in the U.S., all while hiding her true employer of RT. Well, this brings us to Tenet Media. This is a Tennessee-based company at the center of this whole mess, a mess that they kind of created. Now, on the surface, Tenet Media looks like any other content creation company, but according to the indictment, it was funded and directed by RT, making it essentially a secret arm of the Russian government's propaganda.
Yeah, that is because RT is considered an arm of the Kremlin and basically does propaganda for the Kremlin. So makes sense that, yeah, if it's funded by RT and operated by RT, then it is basically a secret arm of RT.
Propaganda machine. So how did all this work? Well, it's alleged that RT funneled nearly $10 million to a series of foreign shell companies to fund Tenet Media. That's right, $10 million. You know what's funny is that $10 million it's like a pipe dream for the average content creator. And I have 3 times as many subscribers as Tenet Media does. I see nowhere near that amount of money. I'm barely making as much as I did at Accenture, and now I have 3 jobs instead of 1. So what was that $10 million for? Well, it was to produce and distribute videos that would stoke division in America and push narratives that were favorable to Russian interests on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and more. Note that the indictment says that nearly 90% of the deposits into the Tenet Media bank account from October 2023 to August 2024 came from foreign deposits. If the total foreign deposits were $9.7 million, that means the company was bringing in maybe $970,000 a year in YouTube ad revenue. Not bad, especially if you're a single content creator, but these people had to pay a staff. So it's not surprising that most of the content that you see on Tenet Media, it's like this talking head style, easy to produce content that's long form with plenty of room for mid-rolls. They need to make as much money as possible whenever they show a video. But even with this cheap content, they still couldn't make money and pay all their staff, so they had to be subsidized by RT. Now, the founders of Tenet Media are Liam Donovan and Lauren Chen, also known in the document as Founder 1 and Founder 2. They were contacted by Kalashnikov and Afanasfia to set up this new media company, and the founders were immediately suspicious.
Oh my god, dude, are you serious? They were contacted by them, by RT people, to start this media company. Are you they're so fucked. They're so dude. Oh my god.
That these people just wanted to shower them with money. That was kind of weird. So Kallioniemi, along with an unnamed actor named Persona 1, came up with this fictitious benefactor. The man's claimed name was Edward Georgin, who was supposedly this accomplished finance professional who held various positions in Brussels and France and worked at a multinational bank.
The Blaze fired her, I saw. Crazy.
Founders were still a little suspicious, especially when...
So guys, it's a little bit different from our usual stream today. We are doing a little bit of politics coverage just because this huge thing came out about propaganda. And you know, in the past, I've expressed an interest in how the propaganda machine works, especially out of Russia. One thing that's super interesting that I read about is that Russia often will start, they will start like pieces of news that are meant to be propaganda that are like clearly fake or stretches of the truth. They will plant those stories in like third world countries first to see how they like perform. And oftentimes, after those reports have been in those countries circulating for a little bit, they'll come over to the West. It's insane. So the fact that they just blatantly, it wasn't like a secret operation whatsoever, right? Like that's a level of of subtlety, you know, that they did not perform in this. In this, they literally approached 2 founders, asked them to start a media company in the United States. So they just like skipped the third the medium the entire time, And yes, Ina says, yes, they plant those stories in Serbia, my country, since we have the best relationship with Russia. Meanwhile, they've always been really shady. Yeah, they do it with India as well. They'll plant stories there. So, and usually it's, I don't have the words for it. I don't have the words to express it correctly, but they'll plant it. It'll come from like a shady source or a source you can't really find a trail to. And then eventually those stories will get picked up by larger people and retweeted and shared around. And then eventually somebody like in the US starts tweeting it, So yeah, it's interesting. So it's very blatant, and it's weird because apparently they were doing this over Discord. They were in communication with Lauren Chen and her co-founder over Discord, which makes me think that it's possible that they did this. They knew that they would get caught, and they wanted them to get caught. Because what they are trying to do is kind of like create discord within the American citizens, right? And already you've got all this sympathy towards Russia in a way that I don't ever remember seeing, Like, historically, the way that it's always been with the US is that, right-wingers and left-wingers will beat up on each other all the time. But then if it comes to we're at war with somebody, or if it comes to there's an enemy country or whatever, everybody's united against that, right? But it seems like recently, especially with the MAGA crowd, that there's a lot more sympathy towards Russia, and there's sympathy towards Russia before there's sympathy towards like fellow citizens, So I don't like it. I think it's weird.
They Googled Edward Grigorian and couldn't find anything. So the founders emailed Persona 1 and asked Persona 1 about this guy they couldn't find on the internet. So Persona 1 replied with a fake resume and a profile. And I guess that was good enough. And even though Persona 1 occasionally spelled Edward Grigorian's name wrong in documents or accidentally sending correspondence and emails, the founders of Tenet Media took the money and whistled past the graveyard. Sort of. On September 11th, 2023, one of the founders wrote Persona 1 about an unpaid invoice. When Persona 1 didn't respond, one of the founders Googled time in Moscow. The founder realized that it was 4:50 a.m. in Moscow, and they knew that the people who
on 9/11, we were never so united. Yeah. The indictment also says that Benny Johnson did 9/11. What? Donald Trump's goal is usually to befriend all those shady countries to build a really stable relationship so they can maybe even cooperate together, which is scary when you think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people who seem so clouded by their adoration of Donald Trump that they are unwilling to see how blatantly bad January 6th was. Not even just for like the riot at the Capitol building, but for the fake elector garbage that he was trying to do. He was trying to send in fake electors and get hence to change things. It's just insane to me,
who paid their bills weren't up. And of course, this means that the founders of Tenet Media, Liam Donovan and Lauren Chen, knew that they were taking money from Russia. So now let's talk about this law. Here in the US, we have something called the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. Basically, if you're working as an agent of a foreign principal in the US, you need to register with the Department of Justice. Why? Because transparency is key. People deserve to know who is influencing them and why. Note that I still work for the US government in some capacity as a contractor, and that puts a lot of restrictions on what I can say and do. For example, every once in a while, United 24 sends me an email asking me if I'll make content with them or for them. And United 24 is the Ukrainian government-funded media outlet. And while I agree with Ukraine's fight for freedom, I'm not a mouthpiece for any foreign government. And I always tell them no. But if I did agree to do it, I would have to register for FARA. Kalashnikov and Afanasyev were living in the US and they didn't register. And that's a big no-no. So now they're facing charges for conspiracy to violate FARA and conspiracy to commit money laundering. And that isn't just about breaking a technicality, it's about covertly influencing public opinion in the US and hiding who's behind it. And when you're playing in the shadows like that, you're breaking the law. So why does this matter?
True.
Tenet Media's tagline says, "Fearless voices live here." Maybe they're just telling the truth, and the media, which is controlled by the Jews and the military-industrial complex, don't want you to hear the truth. But there is this one weird thing. Remember that attack on a concert hall in Moscow a few months back that was blamed on Daesh? Well, Russian handlers who were communicating with the founders of Tenet Media suggested that the incident be blamed on Ukraine, saying, "I think we can focus on the Ukraine-US angle." With one of the commentators, known as Commentator 3, which must be one of these people, affirming that he's happy to cover it.
Ooh, he's happy
Now,
to
we don't
cover
know
it.
who Commentator 3 is, but I want to focus on Tim Pool for a moment. Remember back at the start of the video where I said that Tim Pool put out a tweet saying that he was the real victim here? I want you to listen to a video from Tim Pool and ask yourself if he's parroting Russian talking points or he thought of this himself.
And they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, in triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
So did Tim Pool just come to this conclusion by himself with his own research? I'm a Christian. One thing that always struck me as kind of funny is that Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. It's about $858 in today's money with the current spot price of silver. Can you imagine that? Betraying the greatest man who ever lived for $858. And maybe at the end of the day, Tenet Media aren't traitors. They're just grifters. The content creator equivalent of carnival barkers. They have nothing new to say. They have no investigative journalism. They just have anger on demand and lazily produce content that's simple to edit so they can pump out 4 videos a week. This case highlights just how far some foreign entities will go to manipulate public opinion. They're not just buying ads or pushing their content, they're embedding themselves in our media landscape, pretending to be something they're not. And that's dangerous. It's a reminder to all of us. Always check your sources. Be skeptical of where information is coming from, especially when it's from unknown entities. And most importantly, stay informed, because when you know what's going on, you're a lot harder to fool. Hey, if you're in the LA area, come to the 2024 Disaster Expo at the LA Convention Center. I'm speaking Friday the 6th at 11:45 about how our...
Okay, the next thing we can look at. I understand some of what he's saying, but I think I'm missing what's tying it all together. What is this video trying to share? It's just talking about basically that there was an indictment, basically. Here, let me pull it up. Give me a second. Okay, so Tenet Media is a Tennessee-based media group, okay? So the Office of Public Affairs just tweeted this out. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong thing. Not tweeted this out, just put this press release out, okay? Tenet Media got 90% of its funding from Russia. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 RT employees indicted for covertly funding and directing U.S. company that published thousands of videos in furtherance of Russian interests. Employees of Russian state-controlled media outlet deployed nearly $10 million to publish RT-curated content, which garnered millions of views through a Tennessee-based online content creation company. View the indictment here. An indictment charging Russian nationals Christiansen Kalashnikov, 31, also known as Kostya, and Alina Afanaseva, 27, also known as Lena, with conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, was unsealed today in the Southern District of New York. Kalashnikov and Afanaseva are at large. The Justice Department has charged 2 employees of RT, a Russian state-controlled media outlet, in a $10 million scheme to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging. So it's a big deal because a lot of the content creators associated with this were like the free thinkers, you know, oh, I do my own research and all of that, and, you know, legacy media is bad, right? Yes, that is correct, Sora. And it's kind of a big deal because, I don't know, it's just kind of, there's been a lot of split recently in a way that we haven't really seen before amongst the American public, of people who are very sympathetic towards Russia. Benny Johnson wrapping himself in the flag while taking Russian money. True. The Justice Department has charged 2 employees of RT, Russian state-controlled media outlet. And by the way, RT is quite literally an arm of the Russian government. It is quite literally like they get all their orders from the Kremlin, you know? The Justice Department will not tolerate attempts by an authoritarian regime to exploit our country's free exchange of ideas in order to covertly further its own propaganda efforts, and our investigation into this matter remains ongoing. Our approach to combating foreign malign influence is actor-driven, exposing the hidden hand of adversaries pulling strings of influence from behind the curtain, said Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. As alleged in today's indictment, Russian state broadcaster RT and its employees, including the charged defendants, co-opted online commentators by funneling them nearly $10 million to pump pro-Russia propaganda and disinformation across social media to U.S. audiences. The department will not tolerate foreign efforts to illegally manipulate American public opinion by sowing discord and division. Fuentes appeared on RT numerous times after the war started. Yeah, that's one thing I disagree with Destiny on. I heard Destiny mentioning this earlier. He was like, oh, I don't think Fuentes is pro-Russia. I think he just is isolationist. And I would heavily disagree with that from what I can, you know. Also, I'm pretty sure that Tenet Media was like the exclusive media at the America First PAC conference, right? Have a good one, Zaj. They did cover AFPAC, yeah, right. Covert attempts to sow division and trick Americans into unwittingly consuming foreign propaganda represents a tax on our democracy, said FBI Director Christopher A. Wray. Today's actions show that as long as foreign adversaries like Russia keep engaging in hostile influence campaigns, they are going to keep running into the FBI. We will continue to do everything we can to expose the hidden hand of foreign adversaries like Russia and disrupt their efforts to meddle in our free and open society. The Russian government has long sought to sow discord and chaos in the United States through propaganda and foreign malign influence campaigns, said Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department's National Security Division. As alleged, the covert operations by RT employees exploited our free and open press and targeted millions of Americans as unwitting victims of Russia's psychological warfare, which I believe it because, again, in the past, we used to be pretty unified as a country when it came to who was the enemy and who was not. And now it seems like there are American citizens who are more loyal to like Russia, who are more sympathetic towards Russia than they are to their fellow American citizens. You know, it's crazy. As alleged, the United States broadcaster RT orchestrated a massive scheme to influence the American public by secretly planting and financing a content creation company on U.S. soil, said U.S. Attorney Damian Williams for the Southern District of New York. The instruments of the scheme were RT employees Konstantin Kalashnikov and Elena Afanasyev, who managed the operation from Moscow using fake personas and shell companies, and the victims of the scheme were the American people, who received Russian messaging without knowing it. As the charges unsealed today demonstrate, this office will work with our law enforcement partners to unmask and hold accountable all those who conduct malign influence campaigns in the United States, no matter how hard they try to hide their tracks. They apparently didn't try very hard to hide their tracks at all. According to the court documents, RT, formerly known as Russia Today, is a state-controlled media outlet funded and directed by the government of Russia. Over at least the past year, RT and its employees, including Kalashnikov and Afanesi deployed nearly $10 million to covertly finance and direct a Tennessee-based online content creation company. In turn, U.S. Company One published English-language videos on multiple social media channels, including TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Since publicly launching in or about November 2023, U.S. Company One has posted nearly 2,000 videos that have garnered more than 16 million views on YouTube alone. Many of the videos posted by U.S. Company One contain commentary on events and issues in the U.S., such as immigration, inflation, and other topics related to domestic and foreign policy. While the views expressed in the videos are not uniform, most are directed to the publicly stated goals of the government of Russia and RT to amplify domestic divisions in the United States. So I guess Tim Pool didn't know the money was Russia, but people are making the point that they should have known where the money was coming from. I've heard that he at least knew it was shady. Hi, Payne. In order to carry out RT's secret influence campaign in the United States, Kalashnikov and Afanasyev operated under covert identities at U.S. Company One. Posing as an outside editor, Kalashnikov edited U.S. Company One content, monitored U.S. Company One's funding and hiring, and introduced Afanasyev as a member of his purported editing team. Using the fake personas Helena Shudra and Victoria Pesty, Afanasyev posted and directed the posting by U.S. Company One of hundreds of videos. Afanasyev also collected information from and gave instructions to U.S. Company One staff. For example, after the March 22, 2024 terrorist attack on a music venue in Moscow, Afanasyev asked one of the U.S. Company One's founders to blame Ukraine and the United States for the attack, writing, "I think we can focus on the Ukraine-U.S. angle." The mainstream media spread fake news that ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, yet ISIS itself never made such statements. All terrorists are now detained while they were heading to the border with Ukraine, which makes it even more suspicious why they would want to go to Ukraine to hide. Dave Rubin is playing dumb too, yeah. I'm certain Tim knew, but he plays super dumb on his stream, yeah. Between in or about October 2023, also hi. Between in or about October 2023 and in or about August 2024, RT sent wire transfers to U.S. Company One totaling approximately $9.7 million, which represented nearly 90% of U.S. Company One's bank deposits from all sources combined. Dude, they were straight up. They didn't even make that much money off of their supporters. They made majority of their money off of Russia. Are you serious? What is this? It's a little bit of coverage of the Tenet Media fiasco. Basically, Tenet Media was found to be funded by RT. And there's some pretty big content creators who are part of that. Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool. That's so crazy. That 90% of Tenet Media's bank deposits from all sources was from RT. The wires were sent from shell companies in Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, and were often accompanied by wire notes describing the payments to the purchase of electronics. For example, the wire note for $318,000 wire payment from a shell entity in Turkey to the U.S. Company One on March 1st read, buying goods invoice 013 iPhone 15 Pro Max 512 GB. U.S. Company One never disclosed to its viewers that it was funded and directed by RT, nor did U.S. Company One or its two founders register with the Attorney General as an agent of a foreign principal. Yeah, that's wild. They're Kalashnikov and Afanasyev, both of Russia, are charged with conspiracy to violate FARA, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. If convicted, a federal district court judge will determine any sentence after considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. The FBI is investigating the case. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Alexander Lee and Juliana Murray for the Southern District of New York and trial attorney Brett Reynolds of the Justice Department's National Security Division Counterintelligence and Export Control Section are prosecuting the case. I'm just like, what? Lauren and her husband are looking at a decade in prison. Lamau, it's wild. It's wild. So I think a guy who does some pretty good threads on Twitter, and we also have the indictment here, the sealed indictment. We can go through this if you guys want. But introduction, RT, formerly known as Russia Today, is a state-controlled media outlet funded and directed by the government of Russia. After Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, RT was sanctioned, dropped by distributors, and ultimately forced to cease formal operations in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. In response, RT created, in the words of its editor-in-chief, an entire empire of covert projects designed to shape public opinion in Western audiences. One of RT's covert projects, as described herein, is its funding and direction of a Tennessee-based online content creation company. Over at least the past year, RT and its employees, including Konstantin Kalashnikov and Alina Afanasieva, the defendants, have deployed nearly $10 million laundered through a network of foreign shell entities to covertly fund and direct U.S. Company One. We've already read this. Since publicly launching in or about November 2023, U.S. Company One has posted nearly 2,000 videos that have garnered more than 16 million views on YouTube alone. Fox is already mad about this. I'm pretty sure they're on the take too. On the take? What does that mean, April? Okay, let's see this. Kalashnikov, Afanasyev, Founder 1 and Founder 2 also worked together to deceive two U.S. online commentators who respectively have over 2.4 million and 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. Founder 1 and Founder 2 contracted with Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 to produce videos using Commentator 1's and Commentator 2's own names and leveraging their existing audiences for license and publication by U.S. Company 1. So two of the people, I guess, content creators who were involved in this were deceived, I guess. Kalashnikov, Afanasyev, Founder 1 and Founder 2 worked together to mask U.S. Company 1's true source of funding, i.e. RT, by falsely portraying Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 that U.S. Company 1 was sponsored by a private investor named Edward Grigorian. In truth and in fact, Grigorian was a fictional persona. For example, during contract negotiations, Commentator 1 requested that Founder 1 provide a profile or article on Edward Grigorian. In response, Founder 1 sent Commentator 1 a one-page profile provided by Founder 1 by another fictional persona purporting to represent Edward Grigorian, falsely describing Edward Grigorian as an accomplished finance professional who held various positions in Brussels and France at a multinational bank, including Director of Private Banking, Division, and Wealth Management. After receiving the fictitious profile, Commentator 1 agreed to work with U.S. Company 1 and produce approximately 130 videos that were published on U.S. Company 1's platform. They're probably getting paid by Russia too, but that is just speculation. Fox will take jobs from anyone. Just by the way that Jesse Waters is acting. How is he acting? I can't believe they used Discord. They used Discord for this. They had to want to get caught. Like the two Russian operatives. They had to. Who's Jesse Waters? He's like a host on Fox News, I believe. We're going to read Pekka Kallioniemi's thread. He makes some pretty good threads on Twitter. Let me drink some water, actually. He's acting like conservative media outlets are getting targeted by the Department of Justice. Yeah, if you're taking foreign money, yeah. If you're taking foreign money from a country that is known for doing propaganda, hello? Yes. Honestly, it's a little bit too on the nose for the Russian to be named Kalashnikov. Writers could have tried a bit harder. Oh man, this Tim Pool thing is just desserts. I have so many conservative friends who hold Tim as a bastion of independent journalism. Dude. Okay, hiker. In today's VatnikSoup, I'll discuss the Kremlin's funding of Tennessee-based media company Tenet Media. Tenet Media is best known for their promotion of Russian narratives and for strong support for Donald Trump in the upcoming 2024 U.S. elections. Did you see Tim's dad called into the Majority Report? No, I didn't. Oh my God, can you link that to me on Discord, Will? Media startup from Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin was a secret Russian influence campaign, indictment alleges. First, it's worth stating that the funding originated from Kremlin-controlled RT and that the funding was masked through shell companies in countries like Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and Mauritius, with the money being described as payments for electronics, which we all just read. The two individuals involved from RT, identified as Konstantin Kalashnikov and Alina Afanasieva, have been charged with conspiracy to commit money laundering and conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. These two also instructed the content creators. Tenet was founded in 2022 by Lauren Chen and Liam Donovan, who is also the president of the company. Chen is a contributor to Charlie Kirk's nonprofit, Turning Point USA, and she also wrote opinion pieces for RT between 2021 and 2022. So this is the TPUSA profile that she has, and then the RT profile. I've previously written about the shift in tactics of Russian information operations, suggesting that instead of using bot and troll accounts with limited following, they've started supporting social media super spreader accounts with huge reach. Next, let's look at the people involved with Tenet Media. Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, and Lauren Southern are probably the biggest names in the bunch. And this group alone has a combined follower count on X of around 7 million. They also produce content on YouTube. So these are the people: Benny Johnson, Tim Pool. I'm not super familiar with Benny Johnson. I just know I remember him because he moral frogged about something. Tim Pool just tweeted about it. LOL, a FARA violation is so stupid. Yo, no one gets these charges. Tim could have easily registered as a foreign agent. It's a normal thing for lobbyists to do. This wild. I just downloaded Star Trek. Thank you. Anyone dumb enough to believe that independent journalism and Russian government can mix is an epic joke. Yeah. I put it in the video in ideas for stream. It's 13 minutes. Okay, thank you so much. I'll take a look at it right after this. Tim Pool, or as we like to call him, Dim Fool, Dave Rubin, and then Lauren Southern. This is all very disappointing. This is all very disappointing. Out of the four, it's disappointing especially because I've interacted with Lauren before, and it seemed like she was kind of like starting to shift in her opinions on things, but now I'm just like, bruh. Okay, Pekka Kallioniemi says, out of the four, Pool was the one who went all in with his videos. In one of his videos, he claimed that Ukraine is the enemy of this country, that Ukraine triggered the conflict by blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, also suggesting that we should apologize to Russia. Wow, nice one.
Financing, pull out all, and they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, in triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world.
Really? Like,
we should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia. And they know it.
That's insane. The apologize part was the icing. I was iffy before, but now this dude knew what the he was doing. Yeah, I kind of think so. I think he was sucking that cock real hard. He's sucking that Russia cock real hard. Like, this dude, he was like, yes, Russia, give me that money. I will fillet you like you've never been filleted before. Just give me that money. They should apologize to Russia. We should apologize to Russia. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Tim Pool's mother should apologize to us for not having an abortion. Oh, God, dude. What a traitorous piece of trash. These people need prison time. I would agree. Please, Russia San, give me money. Oh, woo. God, Russia is giving him backshots for real. Okay. Tim's also been vocal over Ukraine on X, especially on the U.S. military aid to the country. He's also suggested that Trump could potentially de-escalate the war quickly. Incidentally, these posts became much more common after Tenet got their funding from Russia. Eli says the hat isn't because he's bald. That's where he hoards the cum. Oh my God, dude. I already knew he grifted, but this is a different level. Yeah. Wow. I now hate and despise Ukraine. Trump got impeached for freezing military aid to Ukraine. Biden faces no consequences for freezing military aid to Israel. This proves... When did Biden do that, though? This proves Ukrainians run the U.S. Now when someone asks, who is they, though, you respond with the Ukrainians. What? Okay. Just... Wow. Like, just really leaning full into the anti-Semitism. Hi, darling rat. How's it going? You haven't missed much. We're just going over the Tenet stuff. Oh, he was memeing Rare Popo. He apparently tweeted today. People are saying he flipped 180. It's not. He used memeing. It was satire. The people screaming about Trump working for Russia are the same people demanding social media censor misinformation. Stop listening to these people. Biggest misinformation agent, Tim Pool over here. All of these tweets about civil war. Oh my God. You are in a civil war. Civil war. It all depends on what happens next. But should this escalate, then history will regard everything happening now as a second civil war period. You are in a civil war. You are in a civil war. 5 years ago, I was worried that rising tribalism and political street fights could be a precursor to civil war. We are now at the president has arrested his political rival phase. Dude, he's so upset. He's so upset. He's upset and he's obsessed with civil war. I thought maybe low-key, like, the dude might be autistic. That's why he's obsessed with, like, civil war. Like, I'm not going to be ableist or anything, you know? But now this makes it very different. In my opinion, I assume the charges are more about them not registering and why. Yeah, the charges seem to be mostly about them not registering. But he's the victim, guys. True, Mr. Wu King. Tim Pool, ultimate victim. You're in a cold civil war. What is a cold civil war? American Civil War II, pedophiles versus Nazis. Come on, after that, how can y'all tell me we aren't heading for a civil war? How long has this been dude talking about civil war? Civil war. Civil war is here. Civil war. It's to the point where I think even Elon started doing it. At this point, is it not cold civil war? The responses to this tweet are great. How could there be anything other than a civil war when tribalists are this stupid? The ironic thing is civil war, for how much he tweets out about it, the aim of Russian disinformation and Russian propaganda is to split the American public. Again, you know, we as a country have historically always been like, we will fight amongst each other and different political leanings will fight amongst each other. But when it comes to an enemy of the United States, we are unified in who we determine as an enemy of the United States, and we are unified in supporting those efforts to not benefit that whoever the enemy is, right? That has historically always been the case up until recently, and now you've got whole swaths of people who were sympathetic towards Russia, whole groups of people who were buying Russian propaganda. I mean, how much of the COVID conspiracies came out of Russia, right? It's crazy. So his whole thing tweeting about civil war is interesting because it is almost like they are trying to sow enough discontent, at least for like an ideological civil war, you know? The rule of law has been breaking down for quite some time. This is political civil war. This and Obamagate stuff tell me we aren't in a civil war. No one views the upcoming election as legitimate. I'm feeling a bit bullish on civil war. So, civil war. We get it. They want civil war. There's going to be a civil war. Yep, that's it, civil war. They refuse to back down. They are actually insane. Insane. Hi, Sophilio. In America, you are allowed to spread pro-Russian talking points. It just has to be clear if it's sponsored by a state or not. Yes, exactly. Okay, back to this. So, the next tweet. Johnson's main talking points have revolved around stopping the Ukraine aid and emphasizing the domestic problems in the U.S., naturally caused by the evil Democrats. Apparently, he was paid $400,000 USD per month and also received a signing bonus of $100,000 USD. Okay, eventually they did a deal. Benny Johnson would unknowingly work for the Russians for $400,000 a month in exchange for 4 monthly videos, plus a $100K signing bonus. Poole also agreed 100K a video, but no bonus. Weak negotiating skills. Oh! Of, like, probably the biggest burn here is that Poole has weak negotiating skills. That's so funny. Benny Johnson tweeting, politicians are waving Ukraine flags in the halls of Congress, chanting Ukraine as they vote to send another $60 billion overseas. Insane. Chip Roy savages Dems while sending billions to Ukraine. Trump solves Ukraine war. We would have a deal made in 24 hours. Ukraine war, Trump's perfect answer. What is this? I missed the... Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate's perfect take on Ukraine. Interesting. And here are all the thumbnails. Kamala cringe. NFL star robbed in San Fran. Simple suing Kamala Harris. Trump surging in new polls. In the case of Lauren Southern, the Russian connection is more evident. In 2018, she visited Moscow to meet with Alexander Dugin, a political philosopher who provided the blueprint for Russian imperialism in his 1997 book, Foundations of Geopolitics. I can fix her? Oh God, Testy. In the case, yes. So there's that. Why is this Pizzagate truther meeting with a Russian neo-fascist? Good question. Southern claims that Dugin isn't actually a fascist, but merely a misunderstood philosopher. As she wrote on Twitter, it's incorrect to call him a fascist. Dugin's denials, of course, are akin to white nationalists or members of the so-called alt-right, insisting they're not actually white supremacists. Indeed, Dugin's neo-fascism is all but impossible to miss. Apparently, the Russian operatives could influence the content posted by Tenet Media. Afanasieva had requested the media company to post Tucker Carlson's visit to Russian/French grocery store, even though one of the producers felt like it was overt shilling. On or about February 15th, 2024, Afanasieva shared with U.S. Company One a video of a well-known U.S. political commentator visiting a grocery store in Russia. Afanasieva posted the video in the producer Discord channel. Later that day, producer One privately messaged founder Two on Discord. They want me to post this referencing the video that Afanasieva had posted, but it just feels like overt shilling. Founder Two replied that founder One thinks we should put it out there. Producer One acquiesced, responding, all right, I'll put it out tonight. Oh, sorry, not tonight, tomorrow. Let's see this. Watch Tenet. Of course, this is not a direct comparison. Is anyone happy with soaring grocery prices in America? We can mock and criticize, point out how it's an unfair comparison, but one pertinent thing Tucker has said is that Moscow, Dubai, Singapore, Tokyo, Abu Dhabi, that these cities are all cities that are gleaming and safe. I have lived in other countries and can agree. Americans believe that it's normal for their cities to be trash-filled, dangerous hellholes. We should be learning from other countries. Yes, there are some aspects of their cultures we would not want to adopt, but the pig-headedness of believing we have it the best is truly bewildering. All those sanctions drop the prices. He can't really be this dense, can he? And it's like, I guess it's of Tucker Carlson in this Russian grocery store or whatever. Yeah. In another example, Afanasieva told the company they should blame Ukraine for the Crocus City Hall terrorist attack, even though ISIS had previously claimed responsibility for the massacre. Chen replied that one of the influencers was happy to cover it. That's wild. The next day, on or about March 23rd, 2024, Afanasieva privately messaged Founder One on Discord asking that one of our creators record something about the Moscow terror attack. Despite public reporting that the foreign terrorist organization ISIS had claimed responsibility for the attack, Afanasieva requested that U.S. Company One blame Ukraine and the United States, writing, I think we could focus on the Ukraine/U.S. angle. The mainstream media spread fake news that ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, yet ISIS itself never made such statements. All terrorists are now detained while they were heading to the border with Ukraine, which makes it even more suspicious why they would want to go to Ukraine to hide. Founder One responded that Founder One would ask Commentator 3, and the next day confirmed Commentator 3 said he's happy to cover it. Interesting. According to the indictment, Tenet Media founders knew that both Kalashnikov and Afanasieva were Russian, yet chose to work with them anyways. So they knew. They're so... Tenet Media's creators have a huge online reach. Their 2,000 YouTube videos have amassed over 16 million views. According to the indictment, the Tennessee company's founders work with Kalashnikov and Afanasieva, whom they knew were Russian, to recruit influencers to make videos that were published across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X. The indictment says its nearly 2,000 YouTube videos amassed more than 16 million views, which tracks with public statistics on Tenet Media's YouTube channel. Once the company launched in the fall of 2023, Kalashnikov and Afanasieva were involved in the company's day-to-day operations. Kalashnikov was introduced to employees as an outside editor, and according to the indictment, monitored U.S. Company One's internal communications and edited content by U.S. Company One without disclosing that he was an RT employee. Does this mean that you'll start covering politics again? Probably not frequently. I just wanted to cover this because it's interesting to me, right? So, Lauren Chen even Googled the time in Moscow to see if they're asleep or not and when to message them. That's wild. Dave Rubin has already claimed that him and the other commentators were victims of this scheme, but apparently they had no trouble in receiving money from a fake persona called Edward Gregorian without doing background checks or performing their due diligence. Yikes. Okay, let's see. Founder 1, Founder 2 worked together to mask U.S. Company 1's true source of funding, i.e. RT, by falsely portraying to Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 that U.S. Company 1 was sponsored by a private investor named Edward Gregorian. The fictional persona. Commentator 1 requested that Founder 1 provide a profile or article on Edward Gregorian. In response, Founder 1 sent Commentator 1 a one-page profile provided to Founder 1 by another fictional persona purporting to represent Edward Gregorian, falsely describing Edward Gregorian as an accomplished finance blah blah blah. We already read it. This is truly one of those rare instances where politics and drama overlap. That is true. Also, isn't it also scary if they didn't know, but their talking points were so pro-Russian that Russia wanted to give them money? It's also an interesting legal case. I doubt it will go to trial, but it will be interesting to see what he pleads to. One-page LMFAO seems legit, receives millions of dollars. Yeah, at a certain point, you're being purposely negligent at that point. So there's that. Dave Rubin, statement on the DOJ indictment. These allegations clearly show that I and other commentators were the victims of this scheme. I knew absolutely nothing about any of this fraudulent activity, period. People of the Internet was a silly show covering viral videos, which ended 4 months ago. The DOJ has never contacted me regarding this matter, and I have no intention to comment further. The screenshot directly from the indictment speaks for itself. And this is apparently the fake Edward Gregorian profile. Edward Gregorian, experienced finance professional and investor. Deeply engaged in business and philanthropy, leveraging his skills and resources to drive positive impact, supporting a range of organizations worldwide. With a dynamic presence mainly in Brussels and London, engaging in personal and professional pursuits in each location, with a focus on poverty alleviation, championing free speech, and advocating for social justice causes. Interesting. They're victims of being dumb. Jose Campos, thank you for the $2 tip. I very much appreciate it. Guys, if you like the content, please remember to press the like button on the YouTube stream. It helps boost me in the algorithm. And you can always super chat because that helps me. I greatly appreciate it. Deeply engaged in business sounds 100% real to me. Yeah, this sounds so legit. Why wouldn't they just like reverse image search to see if this is like a stock photo or something? Rubin has been selling himself out to stains since 2016. I believe it. I don't know too much about the guy, but I believe it. We were on 14. Benny also referred to himself and other influencers as victims, and as a strong advocate for freedom of speech, threatened to sue anyone who claims otherwise. Oh my god, dude. That is quite the sentence. So I'm not going to call him a Russian agent, but I really do think he is both greedy and naive. That's so funny. A statement on the DOJ leaked DOJ indictment today. A year ago, a media startup pitched my company to provide content as an independent contractor. Our lawyers negotiated a standard arm's length deal, which was later terminated. We were disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which made clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme. My lawyers will handle anyone who states or suggests otherwise. Freedom of speech advocate here, guys. On the other hand, this shows how easily these online political commentators can be bought to share specific political narratives, even when they're formulated by the spin doctors of a foreign state. I guess anything goes when you're paid $400,000 USD a month. Tenet publicly launched in November 2023 with 6 contributors well known in right-wing media, including Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, David Rubin, and Lauren Southern. The videos they create for Tenet regularly cover conservative staples including migrant gangs, transgender people, online censorship, and attacks on Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden. While the views expressed in the videos are not uniform, the subject matter and content of the videos are often consistent with the government of Russia's interest in amplifying U.S. domestic divisions in order to weaken U.S. opposition to core government of Russia interests, such as its ongoing war with Ukraine. Prosecutors said one of the Tenet founders began soliciting 2 commentators for work on behalf of Gregorian around February 2023. One of the personalities, described as Commentator 1, said he would need $5 million annually for him to be interested in creating videos for the fake persona, Gregorian. The other, identified as Commentator 2, needed $100,000 per weekly episode to make this worth his while, according to the indictment. The 2 commentators eventually entered into contracts, prosecutors said. The contract for Commentator 1 required 4 weekly videos that he would host and would be live streamed by Tenet Media in exchange for $400,000 per month and a $100,000 signing bonus. Commentator 2 agreed to provide weekly videos for $100,000 apiece, the indictment states, that was Tim Pool. In reality, the Russian intelligence services prefer if you don't know you're working for them. A foreign agent can be witting, unknowingly working, a foreign agent can be witting, knowingly working for a foreign government, or unknowingly working for a foreign government. The latter are often referred to as useful idiots. Yikes. Russia relies on unwitting Americans to spread election disinformation, U.S. officials say. It looks like Tucker Carlson was a Russian useful idiot, and Tenet Media, a right-wing U.S. company allegedly financed by Russia, helped a Moscow propaganda effort to exploit Carlson. Wow. Fortunately, it seems the U.S. officials have become more efficient in detecting foreign influencing in the U.S. elections. In 2016 and in 2020, they fumbled badly, but this time, they were able to report on a massive funding scheme before the elections actually took place. Biden administration announces major actions to tackle Russian efforts to influence 2024 election. Of course, the usual suspects have already started deflecting on the subject. For example, David Sachs has shifted the topic to paid Ukrainian influencers, completely oblivious to the fact that some people might actually defend a sovereign nation completely free of charge. Can you imagine making that much for a few videos? Absolute insanity. These guys should be cleaning toilets for a minimum wage. Yeah, I just want you all to know. I am not funded by any foreign agents, so if you would like to fund me, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. All right. When do we get to see who's on Ukraine's payroll? I bet there are some bigger names than podcasters. To conclude, Russia has shifted its online influencing strategy. And in addition to using vast bot and troll networks, they now provide monetary support for social media super spreader accounts via shell companies. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. And this is just Elon Musk interacting with Tenet Media. Replying to Benny Johnson, wait for it, for $8. Is this legit? Actually, she was suspended for impersonating a comedian. I am on Team Humanity. I used to think that Bannon was smart and evil, but now I realize I was wrong about the first part. Will be fixed soon. Does the public realize that Soros wants open borders? Literally not even checking to see if they're convicted serial killers on the run, which has happened more than once. Seems accurate. State-affiliated media is defined as outlets where state exercises control over editorial content through financial resources, direct or indirect political pressures, and or control over production and distribution. I'm usually not into politics, but this is genuinely interesting. Yeah, it's crazy. So that was the Tucker Carlson grocery store video that was being talked about earlier. Yeah, it is. Correct. Yeah, actually, if you look into it, the way that Russian disinformation works is incredibly interesting. They know that they can't win wars based on just like military power alone, or just based on like military technology alone, or even based off of electronic technology, right? They know that they can't win wars like that. But what they have known is that they can develop a weapon that will be insanely effective. And the weapon that they spent decades developing was their misinformation system. So Russia has one of the most advanced misinformation systems of any country in the world. If you're taught to hate yourself, you will want to be, and this is him replying to Tim Cass, working on Starship, exclamation. Okay, what else is there here? Russian money was funneled to right-wing creators through a pro-Trump media outlet. Prosecutors, ooh. He also tweeted, let me see. There were other things that I saw that were really interesting. Russia's GDP is similar to Italy's. They ain't when it comes, well, nobody knows the true worth of Vladimir Putin, to be real. Like, nobody knows what his monetary worth is. Some people say he could be, like, the richest man in the world because nobody knows what his monetary worth is, right? But I do think, you know, Russia being aware of their setbacks, military-wise and technologically-wise, them deciding to develop their own way and develop something that they are uniquely good at was a smart move, you know? And what they are uniquely good at is spreading disinformation. Russians call it maskirovka. It is a term for using deception on an organized militant level. Yeah. The more I see this, the more I'm inclined to vote for Harris. Thank you for the $2.79, Platinum Aether. Boy, am I glad to be Canadian right now. Yeah. Putin is said to have around 200 million in assets. Boy, am I glad I moved to Canada, Dono. I feel like social media platforms are so susceptible to manipulation. Yeah. Again, remember, Russia's had decades of experience in developing their tactics when it comes to like their militant disinformation system. They have like whole troll farms, you know? Have you seen hypernormalization? It's good. I'm stuck in 2016 because the Trump presidency was stupidly annoying. The real world and reality television merged together in a sickening way. I've not seen it. I don't know what that is. But let's see. I think this is ironic. Russia, my special interest, is lying. Yeah. Keep in mind, this is just the very tip of the iceberg. God knows how many spies and paid shills are running around in Europe. Good question. Tim Pool. Let's listen to this clip.
I really like. So what happens with social media, particularly YouTube, where it's really easy, you can have a foreign agent or even the government or some corporation or whatever say, this guy talks about things that we really like. Dump ad money into his channel through Google AdSense and they'll never know we were the ones funding him and you can't prove it.
So do you think that's something like YouTube should be looking into, or somebody should audit YouTube for that kind of information?
This is a little suspicious.
Definitely.
You think YouTube's in on it?
I don't think YouTube's in on it. I think YouTube doesn't care.
Yeah.
And as long as journalists don't call them out for it, they're not going to say anything.
That's going to cause another adpocalypse. Are you ready for that?
That's the big problem. But I think I've said it a million times. If they
He says this while he's taking money from Russian interests. Okay. Wow. Are you serious? How could he know such a thing? I wonder.
announced that they were going to like ban Twitter, I would lose my account. I'd be like, dude, Twitter's terrible.
Yeah,
get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
bad
I'm
for
half
humanity.
kidding. Like,
No, it's bad for us.
you know, but if I found out that someone was secretly funneling money through AdSense to my channel, I'd be like, cut it all off. I don't care.
Well,
I'll go sleep in a
might
ditch.
have some news for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at we kind of addressed this with you the last board meeting we had about certain sites like syphilisdating.com and
Twitch nice. Don't go to it.
Don't go to it.
Don't go to any of these sites that we talk about.
Well, it does, because it lists
What the
your
heck?
brother and you as the owner. And there's a series of 55 URLs like antifahub.org.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of them are packed with malware. A lot of them are packed with, they have security reports.
Yeah, but
in them.
what does that have to do with me
I
or
don't
YouTube?
know. I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't know, but you should look into it.
Interesting. Okay, then there's this other clip we can watch. This guy's yes are too close together. Oh my god, dude. Let's see. Tim Pool advocates for the death penalty for people found to have accepted money for treason.
Laura was saying, take the glove. We were talking about crime and punishment, and Donald Trump needs to go after these people. Laura was saying, take the gloves off, stop being nice to them, f them. And I said, they should all be arrested. There should be lists. Laura said, we should give anyone who committed treason the death penalty, and then the show gone. Because YouTube doesn't allow calls for the death penalty. That's why they deleted our episode of Alex Jones the first time it happened 3 years ago. And he didn't even say anything crazy. He said, I agree with Bill Gates. We should have firing squads. And he later was like, I meant vaccines, line them up, give them shots, get them. He was like, I was making a joke. I was
What?
sarcastically
Well,
saying,
I'm not going to pull an Alex Jones. I stand by everything I said. I'm not sorry for anything I said. I truly believe that there may be different interpretations of what it means to commit treason. I truly believe that the people who engaged in the coup against Donald Trump and have caused, civil unrest and chaos in our country for the last 7 years through Crossfire Hurricane and also through these what I believe are illegal witch hunts against the president of the United States right now, unconstitutional witch hunts against Donald Trump. They are treasonous. They are traitors. They should get the death penalty when they are jailed in the next Trump administration. And I'm not going to apologize for what I said. I, was not trying to get your stream taken down, but my belief is held by millions of Americans. And
you're saying
I really do believe that
when they are arrested or when they're indicted, arrested,
and they have a
tried,
trial
and convicted.
Yes.
Should they be found to have committed treason by a jury of their peers, you say death penalty.
Absolutely.
Do you think
Absolutely.
Interesting. What? Did they forget about January 6th? I guess so. Kim's soaked beanie is perfect for the electric chair. Oh my god, dude. Okay. I do not endorse that, okay? But yeah, it's wild that they're saying this. Taking Russian money to spread propaganda might classify as treason. Yeah, I would agree with that. Hi, Old Man Laundry. How are you doing? I would agree with that. I think it does. I think it does. And of course, Elon has boosted posts by the Kremlin-paid Tenet Media actually just 10 days ago. He does this stupid low IQ. I hate it when Elon does this. What he does is he will just reply to things with exclamation marks or with like emojis, or he'll retweet things and say, very interesting, or good read. And it's like, he knows what he's doing. He is appealing to literally the lowest IQ, lowest common denominator people who do no critical thinking. And it's just so irritating because you know he's smarter, right? You know that he's smarter than that. Yeah, he does concerning too. Like just one word, whatevers, or just exclamation marks or emojis. It's just so, God, dude, the guy knows exactly what he's doing. It's so irritating. Plain dumb. Interesting. Yeah, why are you like, hello? He also knows the algorithm, so I'm sure he has it set up that it boosts the shit out of anything he replies to. Yeah, he does. He actually made his engineers boost his shit on purpose. He stepped in it with the Tucker Churchill video. I don't think I saw that one. How many times did Musk promote just one of these Kremlin agents? A lot. God, dude. So I Russiagate 2.0, but everyone was like shrug when it comes to PV. I think people didn't understand what exactly dark money meant, right? And I don't think people understood like exactly how badly this could be used, right? So, like, at least for me, I didn't understand exactly the issue with dark money and like foreign agents and funding things and stuff like that. Yeah, he has replied to a lot of these people. Yeah, Old Man Laundry's here. He's the expert on all that. Those lawyers are reaching new heights of hypocrisy. Fate loves irony, but hates hypocrisy. So there's that. I'm not trying to see anything else. I think we've covered basically everything. Dark money is what Vosh is going to name his next pony. Jesus Christ, dude. He wants to be the pony, okay? Just so you know, just so you know. Okay, by the way, okay, I made a banger tweet, okay? I demand retweets and likes, okay? I made a banger tweet. I made a banger edit and I made a banger tweet and I demand retweets and likes, okay? Look at this banger meme I made, okay?
And aka Roaming Millennial, host and TPUSA contributor Lauren Chen, aka Roaming Millennial, and her husband. Now let me tell you something, okay?
Twitter challenge. Go do it.
Let me tell you something. I have not tried to any of these people in this indictment.
I'm a propagandist.
Well, no,
For the record.
No, I'm not calling
I'm a
you that.
propagandist.
I'm just saying. I'm going to
No,
play you.
I'm saying I am.
Okay, well then, I want to
I'm
play
saying I am.
I just
before
want to
you
put
even play it.
You couldn't have asked them why they were doing pro-Russian propaganda and how much money they were getting paid when you were trying to Lauren Southern or when you were trying to Roman Millennial.
Thank you,
when you were
Words of the
doing buddy conversations with these people.
Thank
Destiny.
you. Thank you, King.
Huh?
As far as me being a propagandist goes, everyone is a propagandist. I'm just honest about it. You're a propagandist. We have our
I'm
biases.
curious who you think I'm a
I am at least
propagandist
honest
for.
about my biases.
Who do you think I'm a propagandist for?
Who do I think you're a propagandist
Yeah.
for? Whichever every media person is doing propaganda.
Yeah, but who for? I've got to be doing it with
Doesn't-
somebody.
You think it's a bad word? I don't. That's just the difference. This is a semantics
I think it's
conversation
actually quite a
that is
serious.
Why is Hassan angry all the time? I don't know. I think part. Honestly, I am wondering if part of that is the key to success of being a content creator, because it seems like all of the biggest ones have like a rage face and a rage moment, and they have really good rages, and people like to watch that or whatever. Okay, Just Chase sent me this on Twitter. Let's see. I object to Hassan saying Destiny tried to Lauren Southern. We all know. I don't know that he actually did, to be honest with you, but I don't know. I could just be naive, right? So, what is this?
You're in a civil war. It all depends on what happens next, but this should escalate. History work on everything happening now. It's a second civil war period. You are in a civil war. 5 years ago, I was worried that rising tribalism and political street fighting could be a precursor to civil war. We are now at the president arrest of the political rival phase. You're in the cold civil war. Attention, Civil War 2, pedophiles versus Nazis. Come on, after all that, how can y'all tell me we are headed for a civil war? Civil war is here. Civil war. At what point it is not a cold civil war? The responses to this tweet are great. How could you say there's anything other than civil war when the tribalists are this stupid? The rule of law has been breaking down for quite some time. This is political civil war. This and the Obamagate stuff tell me we aren't in a civil war. No one views the upcoming election as legitimate. I'm feeling a bit bullish on civil war. Soon, civil war? We get it. They want civil war. There is going to be a civil war. Yep, there's it. This is it. Civil war. They refuse to back down. They are actually insane. Mind you, this is just a few tweets. There's others. This is just, the ones that are most easily yoinked.
Oh, Will, I was just looking at the thing where Tim Pool's dad calls in a majority report. Do you have like a link for it? Let me see. Let me download this. Civil War, 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 Civil War. Dude. By the way, I hope you guys like the latest video that I put up on the channel. Take a shot every time he says Civil War. Yeah. Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. Oh, wait, is the link the one that his dad made? Okay. Tim Pool's dad. Tim Pool caught, paid by Tennessee company, owned by 2 Canadians. And this is Tim Pool's dad? Is it actually Tim Pool's dad?
How do you do? My words, my opinion / perspective.
That's a different video. Oh, okay. It's a different video. Okay, let me see if I can play this. Civil War, 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 Civil War. Yeah, he looks like him. Does he really? I guess I just don't see it. Okay, I'm opening this clip. Just a second.
73 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Apparently Tim Pool's dad calls into the Majority Report, okay? Now I have mixed opinions on the Majority Report. At one point I really did like them, but and you know, I still do like what's his name? Sam Cedar. I still like him, but like I don't know. I'm a little conflicted on some of the other people on it. Let's see. Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. Oh my god, I'm gonna have it stuck in my head now. Okay, Tanky Report, yeah. No, none of these people are Sam Cedar. But yeah, I don't know. I used to think Sam Cedar was hot, you know? So, I mean, I still think he's hot, but yeah. But yeah, I just don't know. I have mixed opinions on these people. Anyways, let's watch, okay?
73 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
If you're talking to me, it's Tim's dad. I'm in Utah.
Whoa.
Hey.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, 73 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
No, if you're talking to me, it's Tim's dad. I'm in Utah.
Hey.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Tim Pool's. Is this Tim Pool's actual dad?
Well, that's what the birth certificate said. I'd have to ask his mom though to be sure.
Well, okay, so
Yes, this is Tim's dad.
I don't. Yeah, I've seen you comment before on our show, so I just want to. This is the same Tim Pool's dad that had commented before.
And we can't confirm this,
Correct.
but says you, and we'll
We're taking your word for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see your beanie.
It's the same guy that was happy with your response when you were on Tim's show, you know, and that I argued calling you a PDF based upon your against book banning was moronic. But
Right.
yeah, it's me.
Oh, well.
Now,
What's your
I'm
reaction?
here to talk to you. Now, I'm not going to crap on my son. He's still
Right.
my son. I disagree with many of his productions. And if you watch, I do have videos that address when I disagree with his productions.
Well,
Right.
so you do have a YouTube channel, right? What's your reaction to this story that essentially Tim seems to have gotten money via unwittingly, but from Russian assets essentially who want there to be more anti-Ukraine content out there?
Well, most of the production on the right supports, you know, unfortunately, you know, what Russia wants to sell. Now, me personally, I go with the DOJ because what they're saying is these YouTubers, Rubin and Tim, contracted with a company in Tennessee that was owned by 2 Canadians. Now, what's the due diligence expected to find out exactly where all the money comes from? Now, I don't support his, you know, most of his products don't really concern me. A lot of them are social things that don't really make a difference. But when I hear, you know, views on the LGBTQ or when I see things about the Ukraine, look, the Ukraine didn't ask for Russia to invade. So do I like money going out to Ukraine? I don't like money going to anybody when we have a $36 trillion deficit, okay? But if we don't stop Putin like we didn't with Crimea, he's going to be
legitimately his
emboldened.
dad.
So we have to at least support Ukraine or we're going to eventually put our own people on the ground, and I don't support that. But right now I'm looking at this from the DOJ's perspective, and until they get a better look into the investigation, I'm going to defer to them that all Rubin, Tim, and these other guys did was take the money and run. And Tim, on his show, said that he basically just licensed the production that he already does for them to show. So people on the left or right are going to take their own viewpoints. I'm trying to be impartial, and non-biased when I deal with my son as when I deal with all left or rights. I've gone into some left-leaning publications that I get called out when I actually give an unbiased look into it, and they start, FMing me because it doesn't coincide with their echoes. And so I try to be true. I try to be impartial. I don't agree with a lot of his productions, and then I voice it. Now, I don't directly attack the person. I attack the production. And when people start attacking the person, like when Tim called you a PDF because you were against book banning, I'm like, no, you just lost the disagreement because now you're not addressing the individual topic. You're going after the person. So that's my viewpoints, and that's where I stand on most of that.
His dad does sound pretty based. Tim Pool's dad.
Mr. Poole, I want a question for you.
Yep.
His first initial response is saying that he's in fact a victim of this. What's your reaction to that? Do you think that's an advised way to, respond to this?
Well, PR is a big moneymaker in this world, and if you don't respond properly, you just hung yourself. So calling yourself a victim probably isn't the way to go. I mean, that's acting like a victim has no control over what happens. It's like when somebody says she asked for it because she had a high skirt. Well, she doesn't come out and say she's a victim because she wore a skirt. So, yeah, probably not the best choice of words, but a lot of the times in his video productions, I don't like his choice of words.
Yeah.
But he's selling a product to people that want to buy the product. So as long as he's not complicit with Russia, I'm not hang him. I'm not going to hang him.
Well,
we don't
want that either.
No.
Yeah, I'm curious though.
Discredit permanently.
There's been a lot of money pouring in, I guess, for Tim and for his. I went to his compound. I saw where he's at there. I mean, what's your reaction to how much money Tim has really been making in this space, even though obviously you have some disagreements with what he's putting out there?
I can't comment to how much he's making. I mean, yeah, he puts on a show and he shows a skateboard park. I'm like, me personally, if I was making money on my videos, I wouldn't be telling you how much I'm making. I mean, not to be, hiding or anything, but if you're in a business and you don't tell the people giving you money to support your product that you're going out and spending it on a skateboard park or thing. So I don't agree with him on showing it, but I don't know how much he makes. I don't talk to him about his money, his business. It's his. I don't, people challenge me on my videos saying that I'm jealous of his success and I want his money. And I'm like, where do you think I live? Do you think I'm in the gutter somewhere? Or I don't need his money. So
no, he doesn't wear a beanie. Well, what I can say.
Well, then people may ask Mr. Poole, why call into our show?
It's Mike.
Oh,
It's
Mike.
Well, no, because I watch your show and I put in comments, sometimes, and this is a discussion.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people, I don't like. I mean, I'm not. Who's the man with the beard? I'm lousy on names.
Sam Cedar.
Or Matt Bender.
No.
Or if you're talking about me right here, then I'm Matt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Matt seems pretty. See, I always listen to make sure that people are trying to be fair and not biased, and you guys seem to present that pretty good. And Matt is speaking fairly, where most people are going to sit there and start, calling Tim a complete Russian asset, that he was raised in Russia, something, and slowly brought over to America. But Matt seemed pretty fair, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm just like, I don't want social platform to be left or right. I want impartiality, and I want both sides of the story. And Matt seems to be putting it out there in a fair, unbiased way. So I thought I'd call in and put in my 2 cents, because, like I say, I only go with the DOJ, and I get into arguments with my sons because they evidently go by a preponderance of the evidence. Well, no, I need definitive facts before I hang you. I'm not going to hang you based upon hearsay or things like that, and that's why we disagree. I'm more definitive, legally based when I hang somebody.
Right. I first of all, I appreciate that, Mike. And I want to say that it from what it looks like, just looking at the evidence and everything, it's just it appears that that's the story that we know to be true as of right now, and that is that people like Poole and Rubin were not told the full information. Now we can talk about how they should have gotten more information, and they should have, but with what they did know, they did not have any idea that there was two RT employees at the behest of the Russian government working to basically build up this Tenet Media channel using Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson's audience. But like I did say, I do think that they picked those individuals because they felt like that they had already aligned with their interests based on, you know, what they previously have said in videos.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to start buying somebody's videos unless they reference what I'm trying to sell. Okay, so 100%. And like I say, that's fair. You know, when I get out there, I expect people to address the topic, not because they dislike Tim or Rubin because of the products they sell. And believe me, I'm not going out there telling people I appreciate Tim and his podcast and his position. Like I say, if you look at some of the videos, I think I started a long time ago, you know, like a year ago, and I put out 1,000. I keep them short, 5 minutes, and I try to just give my perspective, whether it's life in general or if it's addressing one of Tim's. I don't do it a lot. But I just try to, you know, I'm a Marine, I'm a firefighter. I got a few things in my brain that I might be able to share, and that's what I do. Now, in this instance, am I defending Tim? Am I being biased? I'm just deferring to the DOJ now until they come out with the whole story. Now, quickly, as a fireman, we would be at incidents, a fire, an explosion, car. We'd get back to the firehouse and we'd turn on the news. And guess what? They're talking about where we just came from, and they are totally wrong. They're trying to be the first to address the topic, to try to get you to zoom in, to stay with their channel, and then eventually they get it right. So I always kind of defer till, let's get the whole story before you hang somebody. That's all. And you guys are seeing, you know, I like the way you report. You're pretty, I mean, you call Tim out for some, you know, idiotic questions, but for the most part, I think you're fair on both sides of the fence when you address topics, and that's why I'm actually talking to you.
I appreciate that. Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Do you, we'll let you go in a sec, but I just, do you have a sense of, does Tim like your videos? Does he appreciate, you know, you calling?
Has he ever mentioned them at all?
Into this show? Yeah. Does he mention them? I mean, I know that, I don't think he has very kind feelings about myself or Sam or Matt Binder for that matter. So I guess I'm just interested what his perspective is on you watching our show and calling in.
Oh, I don't discuss politics. I got into an hour-long, you know, disagreement with my other son, you know, going back and forth over alternate or fake electors. And luckily my hike didn't take me long at all because I didn't realize where I was. But yeah, I mean, we don't discuss, you know, his topics. I don't even know. I asked him once if he knew I had my own video production. I don't think he pays attention to things that really aren't impacting him. And I mean, he is pretty busy pushing, selling, doing his things, and more power to him. He's created something. And now if he owned a gun shop, I don't think I'd be happy with him selling guns. But it is a product that people buy. So am I going to hang him because he's producing something that half of the people want to listen to? Unfortunately, I have always questioned, where does the money come on both sides? You can't divide America unless you have two sides, and we have both sides. And maybe we need to look at, see where all the money comes in. I don't know whether it's revenue from the video productions, if it's donations, you know, because you have memberships now. And usually I don't even go to a place. If I can't comment without paying a membership, I move on.
I hear you.
Right.
All right.
That's why I like you guys. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for the kind words. Appreciate it. And where can people find your YouTube channel, Mike?
Tim Pool's dad. It's just Tim Pool's dad.
Tim Pool's dad. All right.
Yeah, I aggravate a bunch of people, and I love dealing with ignorant trolls that attack me personally rather than the topic because it's just so easy to debate.
Do you hear from Tim's audience, and are those the types that you're talking about? Like, do they get angry that you disagree with your son on political topics?
Oh yeah, they're the ones that call me and say I'm jealous of his success, and a lot of times I'll actually go into his video productions, and then I call out the stupid people that are making stupid comments, and they just love that. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they'll say something like the alternate electors, why is that criminal? Well, because the state didn't pick them. They decided themselves. So they are fake by statute, not by my interpretation. And that's when they call off saying, oh, you just want his money. And I'm just like, what are you, insane? I mean, and I did a video the other day about success, because they're comparing me. They say, well, Elon's more intelligent and successful than you. I said, well, first off, you don't know me. You don't know him. So you don't know how intelligent we are. And second, success is a subjective interpretation. So, you know, I've got everything I need. I got a wife, beautiful wife, my dog, my family I talk to. So for me, being a Marine and a former firefighter, yeah, I think I've been pretty successful in my life. And I think people, you know, are
more
always looking to
honorable
prove
life than
themselves.
Elon Musk.
What I'm saying is, you know, when I finally take my last breath, I'll remember all the people I was able to help when they were in their worst possible situation. And I'll find comfort in that as I close those eyes. That's what I find as being successful. None of my kids are killers. They're not in prison yet, so I'm going for that so far.
There you go.
There you go. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, and thank you for...
Okay, that was an interesting watch. Okay, so apparently he also posted on his YouTube. So let's take a look at his YouTube. This is Tim Pool's dad's YouTube, okay?
Subscribe, like, ring the bell if you
Hi,
think
Gilded.
anything coming out of this noggin is intelligent. My words, my opinion, folks. Let's go. Let's call out the big elephant in the damn room. My son, Tim. All right. I believe myself to be impartial, unbiased when I talk about Tim. I am giving you exactly what the DOJ says. The DOJ says that these producers, Tim, Rubin, whoever, contracted with a company in Tennessee owned by two Canadians. Okay, Tim
Yeah, we're
on his
dissing
show
on
said
Tim
that,
Pool.
well, they licensed, was it Culture Wars to Tenet Media. So that basically what that means is Tim continues producing Culture Wars as he always has, but Tenet can now show it on their platform or can advertise it under their name. Now, Tenet Company is owned by two Canadians who were being bankrolled by two Russians who were bankrolled by Russia. So we don't even know if the two
Fucking
Canadians knew
wild.
that the money was coming from Russia. They knew it was coming from Russians, but we take money from all types of nationalities, and it doesn't mean they're being funded by their government. So we don't even know if the two Canadians knew that the money was actually coming out of Russia. Okay? So you can't hang the producers of videos that made a license agreement to allow them to show their videos. They didn't change their perspective. They still had the right ideology they were selling. Okay? Now, what's interesting here is you're going to have the right side of the fence is actually probably going to be truthful for a few times and go straight from the DOJ. Okay, what Merrick Garland said about this. Personally, we need to wait until the end of the investigation to get all the facts. When I was a fireman, we'd go out on a fire, an incident, trash, explosion, whatever, and when we get back to the firehouse, we'd sit down, watch the news, and damned if the news would come on about where we were just at and handled and be completely freaking off in the la la land. Here on the internet, media, news, they want to be the first to tell you shooting at a school. Why? Because then you tune into that
I don't
station
know
and you
what the
mostly stay
Eliza
on that
Blue
station,
Tim Pool
majority
arc
of people,
is.
for that information. That's why they want to grab you as soon as an event happens, which unfortunately means they don't really have all the facts yet. So that's what happens. So, but what we're going to have
Have you heard about it though, Gilded, about all these conservative influencers being funded literally by RT, which is an arm of like the Kremlin? Because it's crazy. Crazy.
here is the left is going to attack Rubin and Tim no matter what. Why? Because that's where their revenue's coming from. All right. They make money when they attack the opposing side on views, clicks. Okay. Now, what aggravates me is when the left gets hyperbolic and just starts selling you a pile of bullcrap like the Rational National. I'm going by their headline. Tim Pool and Dave Rubin cry victim after getting caught being paid by Russian-funded company. Well, see, they weren't caught. So you're saying they were caught taking money from a company down in Tennessee owned by two Canadians. Wow. That sort of means maybe Canada's behind it. Maybe this is a plot from...
I don't know, dude. After seeing Tim Pool talk about like foreign agents paying YouTubers, I don't know how little he knew.
Rational National because he's Canadian. So this is just a plot for the Canadians who are selling out to the Russians. See what I'm saying? It's moronic to sit there and say that these producers got caught because they had a license agreement with a American company in Tennessee owned by two Canadians. Okay? That's the story here for the video producers. So it's kind of bullcrap for Rational National to get up there and say they were caught. They had no clue Russia was involved down the road, and the DOJ has said so, that these producers were victims unknowingly. Their product was being used because Russia liked their product. But people, where's all the money come from? We got rich people on both sides. We got...
It's been suspected for quite some time conservatives have become way too corporate with their platforms. It has been a little bit weird to see so many conservative commentators taking the like an enemy of America's side, right? It's just crazy.
People on the left making millions of dollars, and we got people on the right making millions of dollars. If I was China, if I was Russia, I'd be throwing money on both sides. Because why? You can't divide the American people from one side. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how? If everybody's left-leaning and believes one liberal show, there's no conflict. If everybody's right-leaning, there's no conflict. You have to have both sides. So Russia would have to fund both sides, even though majority is probably going for their pro-rhetoric. And believe me, I don't support Russia's attack on the Ukraine. I don't support that at all. I think Ukraine is justified in killing every goddamn, that invaded their country, same as we do here. Okay? My words, my opinion, folks, but wait for the whole story to come out. But to sit there and to hang these producers of a right side, no, the problem is this. When I go against something that my son has produced, like Ukraine is the problem for Russia's invasion, all right? I don't attack calling my son any kind of names. I attack what he said, okay? That he says Ukraine is to blame. I say, no, Ukraine didn't ask Russia to invade their country, and I'll address the subject. When people address the individual and not the subject, they're just selling you a pile of crap, trying to make a dollar like the other side. My words, my opinion, folks. Have a good day. I appreciate you. If you think I'm being biased and supporting protecting my son, put it in the comments. I'll address it. I'll answer you. But right now, I'm repeating what the DOJ, the AG, Merrick Garland, said in his initial newscast. Have a good day, folks. I appreciate you.
So that's interesting. I don't know how much I believe of it, but, it's his dad, so his dad is going to hope that he didn't know. Not a big BreadTube fan either, but at least we can confidently say that much of LeftyTube is almost exclusively viewer-supported. Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I'm not, the biggest fan of BreadTube either, but it's just insane. It's insane. They got... Dude, Tim was being paid $100,000 a week. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't $100,000 a week. It was $400,000 a week by Tenet Media. That is just insane. I wish I had that kind of cash. Yeah, I wish I made a fraction of that, But, taking money from the Kremlin is just too much. Okay, all right. I'm trying to think. I don't think that there's too much more for me to cover as far as that goes, right? As far as the whole, Tenet Media thing, I think we've gone over basically everything we needed to. Do this real quick. One last thing, and then we'll move on to other stuff. I think Russia should give their money to Shani and Rev. Nice.
Using Western weapons. Story from Newsweek. Russia issues a warning, a World War III warning to the U.S. You know why they're doing it? Ukraine says it struck at 2 oil depots inside Russia. So using Western weapons, Western training, Western resources, Western intelligence, and Western volunteers, they call them volunteers, that means U.S. boots on the ground, there has been an invasion of Russia. Russia has threatened to use nuclear weapons if facing an existential threat. But perhaps they need not blow us up. BRICS, 126 nations meet with alliance to discuss ditching the U.S. dollar. So perhaps Russia will say, we don't need nukes. We're getting off the petrodollar, and you are done. And what do you think the response from the United States is going to be? It's going to be war. Our only hope, in my opinion, is a Donald Trump victory. Ukraine says it struck at 2 oil depots inside Russia. Why are we tolerating this? Democrat voters who are supporting this are either abject, malicious evil or the banality of evil. I will say it again. Ukraine has invaded Russia. They've evacuated 130,000 civilians. They are bombing oil depots. The U.S. should not have tried to interfere in Ukraine and tried to induct them into NATO. There is no innocence here, only escalation. And
I don't understand. How is it trying to induct them into NATO? First off, they didn't try to induct them into NATO. Ukraine was, I'm pretty sure, rejected at least twice. But Ukraine is seen as the first, line of defense against Russia. So they weren't going to be made anytime soon part of NATO. Ukraine still had too much government corruption. NATO has very strict standards. Secondly, how? Who aggressed on who? Russia's literally the group that invaded Ukraine. Putin wrote a post 10 years ago about wanting to unite Ukraine and wanting to calling Ukraine Little Russia and wanting to unite Ukraine with Russia and restore all of the Soviet countries as one. Ukraine had a few Nazis in their army though, Star? Plus NATO aggression. Yeah, NATO known for being aggressive. Yeah, totally. There are a few Nazis everywhere. So, yeah, I don't know.
The people in this country that are supporting the Ukraine flag-waving Democrat psychopaths.
Psychopaths, says the guy who calls all the Democrats groomers and anybody who's against book banning a groomer. Okay. Psychopaths.
And neocons are going to destroy this planet. They're going to destroy this country, and they are going to wipe out large portions of humanity. They need to stop. I don't know that Donald Trump averts the crisis. I can certainly tell you that it's the better option, and heaven help us.
I can't believe this dude still claims to be a liberal. I just can't believe it. I can't believe he claims to be a liberal. It's just insane. Okay. So we are 2 hours in on this stream. By the way, guys, if you like the content, again, please consider liking the stream. There are 40 of you in here. Please tab over and press the like button. Why are we at 28 likes? Unacceptable. Secondly, please do ! and download Star Trek Fleet Command and play it for free so I can make some money, okay? He's not a liberal. He's not a liberal. No, he's not. Do not call him that. I refuse. I disown him. Okay? Okay. Thirdly, if you really appreciate the content and you want to support Stardust, you can super chat or become a member. That helps me a lot. Okay? All right. Do we want to move on to Shani and Rev? I don't know. Do I have the energy for it is the question. Calling him a liberal allows me to hate him more. Just call him a frickin' loser, okay? Like, he's not a liberal by any... I disown the guy. He's not part of this, okay? Oh my gosh, Kangalop, thank you for the $20 super chat. Do you know what their latest drama is? No, I don't. They're supposed to be going live today, right? I can't even. Dude, I can't even. But also, I put a new video out, okay? By the way, maybe should start wearing a do-rag instead of that beanie. Good God, please not. No, please no. So Foodie Pewdie's abusive ex released DMs that Shani sent him 2 years ago when Rev was in jail for kicking the kids. Kari also has the DMs from Shani around the same time that confirms that's real. Oh, where can I watch that? I want to see that. What the? I don't know what's happening, Tim Pool. I just heard him saying CIA is trying to start a race war, of course. Because that is classic Tim Pool. Okay, Shani decided to say she doesn't remember it, and she now has early Alzheimer's, so she's not responsible for her actions. She doesn't remember. Oh my God. But to be honest with you, Stars, North Korea was paying me $400K a month. I'd say whatever Kim wanted me to say, LOL. Yeah, but I don't know that I would take that in the first place. I feel like, you know, it's a traitorous action against the United States, you know?